欢迎收看 T 阅读，我是主持人林芳颖。今天我们要跟大家介绍的是 TVBS 新出版的一个小说，就是我手上这一本《操控》。那其实这次很高兴，我们是邀请到《操控》的作者来跟我们访谈哦。那因为呢，这个作者他本身是这个英文母语，所以呢，我们会以英文来进行今天的访问。Okay, so welcome to our show, Mr. Thornton and JR. Okay, well, I can call you JR. So please say hi to our audience.
Hi everyone, I'm J.R. Thornton, and here to introduce a little bit my new book, Lucien. I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah, so we know that actually the name of this novel is called Lucien. So could you please introduce this novel to our audience?
Yeah, so Lucien is a literary campus novel set at Harvard that tells the story of two freshman year roommates, Atlas and Lucien, who get mixed up in a scheme to sell forged artwork, which quickly gets out of control. The two characters come from very different backgrounds. Atlas is a talented painter on a full scholarship. He's shy, introverted, um, lacks confidence. He's always been something of an outsider. Lucien is sort of the opposite. He's confident, charming, handsome, very popular. He appears to come from a very wealthy family. However, he also has something of a dark side. He can be controlling and manipulative. He lies a lot. He can be reckless and he takes a lot of risks. And this is sort of the dynamic of their friendship, which really sets up the plot of the novel. I'd say it's a story about deception and illusion, ambition and opportunity, identity and reinvention.
So what inspired you to write this novel? Because I know you are also a Harvard graduate. So is there like a connect to your campus life, or it's just an imagination?
Yeah, I'd say the inspiration for this book probably started when I was very young. Like I was always interested in stories of imposters and con men and people that sort of take on different identities. When I was a child, I loved the books The Count of Monte Cristo and The Great Gatsby, which are both stories about reinvention. And that interest kind of deepened as I started to read real life stories about people like this. In particular, there was a student at Harvard a few years older than me who was on the verge of graduating, was about to become a Rhodes Scholar when someone uncovered some plagiarism, and they looked into his past and they realized that his whole academic record was fabricated. And he got expelled and actually went to jail for a year. And so I was thinking about I knew I wanted to write a book that was set at Harvard, and I was thinking about different ideas, how I could tie this together, and eventually it sort of came together in the character of Lucien.
Yeah, and the two main characters in this novel, especially Lucien, he's like his character is more like mix of like danger, and he's very like have more like confidence and very like have a more high class in this society. And the other one, his original name is Christopher, and then his name by the Lucien become Atlas. So these two characters, they're very like strong conflict, but because they are roommates and they become friends. So can you tell us like how do you see these two like characters? Is there like you know someone in like real life?
Yeah, I thought first of all, I think that when Atlas arrives or Christopher arrives at Harvard, he sees Lucien and he kind of sees a life that he'd always wanted to have, where, this guy is very popular, he's got lots of friends, he's sort of part of the cool crowd. And he gets to do all this fun, go to parties, all this sort of fun stuff. And I think that in Lucien, he sees an opportunity to change his life and to experience something different at university than what he had done throughout his life. So I think that from Atlas's side is where it comes from. I think that Lucien is a very complex character. The easy thing to do maybe would have been to have him be purely sort of evil and sociopathic and manipulative, but I think that he's a bit more complicated than that. I think that he is someone that's gone through a lot of trauma early in his life, and the way he's dealt with that is by coming up with these escapist sort of fantasies and different identities. And so I think that at his core, he's still a good person, but he's someone who's been very damaged by life. And so that's sort of how I think about that character.
Mm.
In terms of like, was it based on one person or anything like that? I would say most of the characters in the book are combinations of different people. Some I know, some are people I read about. Lucien is mostly, I'd say, taken from these stories of con man and rogues that I kind of read about, and maybe with some pieces of people here and there that I met. But yeah, I'd say it's really a composite.
Yeah, and when I read this novel, I originally think like Atlas is more like more naive, is his personality. But after I read it, I feel like maybe he's not that kind. Is what you want to tell us?
Yeah, definitely. I think that I think that the question of naivety is also interesting because I think that Atlas believes Lucien because he wants to believe Lucien, because it's in his interest, and he sees in Lucien an opportunity to change his life, and so there's some self-motivation there, and so he overlooks certain things that perhaps he should notice, right? And so and I think that's true of a lot of the real life stories I read about. There was another person, for example, I read about who spent 10 years in New York City pretending to be a member of the Rockefeller family. And he had all these, successful, famous friends and stuff. And they all believed him because they wanted to be friends with a member of the Rockefeller family. And so it's, there's always some element of the person believing the lie that's, I think, comes from sort of an inner motivation as well.
Mm-hmm. So through this novel, do you want to showing the readers that maybe this is a real, the campus life is like just like a society, it's running by this system. The inequality is like everywhere. Do you want to tell us this kind of idea?
Yeah, I think that it is something that is very evident when you get to an elite university. That disparity is clear. It's a place where people from all parts of society meet, and that's not always true, especially at lower levels of education, where maybe the wealthier students are away at private schools and less fortunate ones in other schools, and so they're kept separate. And I think university brings everyone together, and I think that is a question in our system about opportunity and access in our system, and is it far too skewed towards rewarding students who went to certain types of schools or had certain opportunities, and it's much tougher for other kids to break in, I think.
So thank you for your time to share your ideas with us with your book, Lucien, and the Chinese name, 操控. So thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, see you next time. Bye bye.
想看最完整的新闻内容，记得下载 TVBS 新闻网 APP。